Hello everyone and welcome to game 2 in this series between Goody and Violet. Violet spawning as the yellow Zerg here at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Goody spawning as the purple Terran. Terran versus Zerg. Game 1, a rather curious game on Terminus. If you guys didn't watch that, I rarely ever see games turn into a base race where Zerg actually beats Terran in the base race. I think if Goody had lifted off all of his buildings earlier, he would have been in a much better situation to come back. His buildings would have had a lot more hit points, as the roaches would not have been able to deal any damage. Now, we'll see what Goody responds with here on Dual Site. Dual Site, a map with only 2 spawning locations, so both players know exactly where the other is already. And now sending out a very early SCV scout, and this very early SCV scout can only be used for cheese. No real reason to scout out this early unless you were perhaps trying to build a barracks off over here, or perhaps build barracks here and here. Early marine pressure against a Zerg player that is trying to expand does tend to work out very well if he is not expecting it, and we'll see where this SCV is in fact going to go. It looks like the supply depot has been done, and now going quickly into an engineering bay. Alright, so an engineering bay first here on Dual Site, something that you rarely ever see. And now this drone going to take a look around, and the drone knows that there isn't a barracks on the inside here, so Violet gonna be smart about this, not gonna go for an early hatchery, instead building that spawning pool, expecting cheese, and now not quite sure what to do. Oh, engineering bay has been completed. I don't think that Goody actually wanted to complete that. That is a complete waste of 125 resources. And we'll see what's going to happen here as a drone now chasing after this SCV. SCV going to get repaired just a little bit, as now Violet still wandering around once more. And now we finally see a refinery being built on one of the Vespian geysers. Overlord parked itself off over here. Still doesn't see anything off to the north. This drone just going to wander around. And what Violet's going to do is Violet may move out with Zerglings, spot the engineering bay, and then just try to counter with roach pressure. Roach pressure when you know that your opponent is behind because they spent 125 resources very needlessly. Also, the barracks is very late for a Terran player, establishing that barracks sometime around the 18-minute mark, and now finally upgrading to an orbital command. That drone attempting to block any sort of add-on, but a Marine will be popping out of there in just a second, as now the Zerglings coming over and finally attempting to take down this engineering bay. The Zerglings will have to deal a fair amount of damage there. He doesn't want to reveal how many Zerglings he has to his opponent just quite yet. A Roach Warren is being placed down as I imagined it would, and roach pressure will be coming across the map in just a moment. A Queen is already out. We should be getting somewhere around 7 roaches as a Queen. As an SCV, is it going to spot the Roach Warren? No, it is not going to spot the Roach Warren. And even a drone is down here. Is the drone actually going to grow up to be a hatchery? I believe it. No, it is not. So Violet is completely playing mind games, making it look like he is trying to go for an economic game, but instead he's going to be going for a roach pressure here on Dual Site. Roach Warren about to be completed. Violet just got off another round of spawn larva. There's the 6 roaches that I was talking about. 7 roaches now being added. An Overlord needs to be added to this group, as the Zerglings, I'm going to try to figure out what they can do to put pressure on this front door. Marines now fighting back. There is going to be 1 bunker off over here. And if they can get an Overlord, yes, Violet does have an Overlord. With the Overlord, he could just start firing at this supply depot and perhaps even the reactor while being outside the range of the bunker. Roaches are now on the way out. Will this Overlord move? Yes, it is going to move. Violet, knowing the strategy already, knowing what needs to be done. More drones now being added up just in case that this pressure doesn't work out. He needs to deal a lot of damage with this. Harvester count is 15 drones against 22 SCVs. Now finally catching up with 20 drones of his own. And Violet needs to deal a lot of damage. He does have a much larger army. The Overlord is starting to fly. He is going to be able to spot up onto this high ground, as I mentioned, and the roaches are now just going to go straight up on and take down this supply depot. SCVs are going to try to come back over. Zerglings need to back off. The roaches can just park themselves right there and then play a game of chicken with those Marines. The Marines are not really going to be able to do all too much damage, and there, 1 supply depot already down. Perhaps going to try to take down another supply depot here. SCVs pushing their way in, and the roaches are just inside this base already. SCVs trying to fight back. One low hit point roach in the back of this group. Some easy damage there for a Hellion as the roaches are now going in after those SCVs. One SCV already down. It looks like 9, 10, 11 SCVs down already as the roaches just continuing to get a lot of distance going after SCVs. More SCVs still getting destroyed here as we are now down to 10 SCVs compared to 22. Roaches trying to finish off, still having a difficult time as the Marines and the Hellions will be able to take down the rest of these roaches here in just a matter of seconds. But I believe the damage is dealt. Goody finally with a siege tank. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it is enough. But the finishing blow might have, or the critical blow may have already been dealt as we are now down to 9 SCVs compared to 24 drones. Goody realizes that he needs to pretty much all in at this point to try to change the rally location to his siege tank. Perhaps get in some more siege tanks as well. No, gonna go for Hellions instead. All these SCVs need to be pulled off the mineral line as well, as that would be the only way to get back into this game. Violet going to lose this Overlord in just a matter of seconds. There it goes, as Hellions are now making their way out across the map. There are Zerglings down over here. Is Violet going to have enough units? Is he continuing the drone? No, he is now going into roaches and Zerglings as he should. SCVs are not being pulled off from the mineral line, so Goody is not trying an all-in, pulling or leaving those SCVs back at home. Roaches and Zerglings need to engage. A siege tank down over here away from the rest of those Marines. A really, really tragic loss as Goody, I believe, losing that siege tank is not going to have any real way with dealing with the roaches. With no real way of dealing with those roaches are going to eat apart those Hellions and those Marines, and then the Zerglings will be able to finish them off as well. Down to 2 roaches still, but Goody down to 23 food, and there is the GG. Goody losing to Violet here on Dual Sight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.